Good afternoon, Rider fans. It's another gorgeous day in Saskatchewan, and I'm here as a contestant on CJME's to do the coolest job ever. The station is in search of the world's greatest fan, and I believe I am, and I'm hoping you guys do too. So they asked me to talk for 2 minutes, or they use the word rant to talk about the riders. Well, in my vocabulary, anybody that does talk, it is a rant, because if you're passionate about the riders, you talk. You don't talk, you rant. Same thing. So I thought, what can I talk about? Because the list is endless. So I chose to talk about our 5-0 riders. 5-0? We're not 5-0. What? We're 3-2? That's crazy. Well, how can that be? You know, I went to that game in Calgary, and when they scored 28 points in the first 3 quarters, I was jumping the gun, and I'm chanting to the Stamps fans, 4-0, 4-0, and I'm going on, and well, lesson learned that I've learned over the years, over and over again. So, something I have to keep learning. But when a team is up 35 points in a game, it should be enough to win. Then add in the equation that the defense only gives up 17 points in 3 quarters. You'd think like this would be candy to a baby. What the heck is the matter? But then the 4th quarter starts. What adjective can we use for the 4th quarter? I can think of many, and I'm sure you guys can too. We'll just say there was bedlam happening there, and it was a complete breakdown in all 3 phases of the game. A lot of people like to blame Durant. I'm a huge Durant fan. Although he had an interception and he had a fumble, when you put up that many points, his receivers were dropping balls. It was not his. And then the special teams, we missed field goals. How does that happen? Yeah, we got a new kicker in. Maybe that'll change, give it some competition. However, when the defense, they couldn't cover either the Hamilton game or the Calgary with a blanket. Like the backs were the backs were nowhere near 10 yards within a receiver. So I'm coming home from Calgary after a few days, mellowed out a bit, and I'm like, Coach Chaplin saying, hey, you know, this won't happen again. So you're thinking, yeah, they're a new team, you know, we're still 3-1, all life is good. So I'm driving home, it's all good. Then what happens? The Cats come to town. Same thing happens. Unacceptable in my eyes. 1 time you can live with, 2 times, no way. It's crazy. How does this happen that you give up 17 points and 19 points? I've been a fan for 30 years, and going to the games, I sit in center row, section 25, and I love my riders. But I've been around for the lean and mean years, and I'm thinking but our fans have deserved more, and we expect more in the last 10 years than we have when the mean 80s were around. And those dry years, we would have been happy. Even now, with a young team and a new coach, not just a new coach, but a rookie coach, here we are, 3-2. Most people would have been ecstatic. However, our expectations are better. We should have been 5-0, and against a divisional rivalry, a game we should have won, there was no excuse, young team or not, to have that loss. However, I also know, 89, all you have to do, make playoffs, because a 9-9 team can still win the Grey Cup. Go Riders! Woo!
I thought you actually did pretty good. You had a lot of rider knowledge. There's no question that you love going to the games. So glad that you went to Calgary and you shared that story with us. If you do come back, I would recommend prepping a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more in your head as far as a flow and direction of where you want to go.
Carla, it's always tough going first, the first contestant, but I enjoyed the enthusiasm. That's the key thing about this whole competition is enthusiasm. If everybody had that as much as you brought, I think it would be a great competition. I think preparation, however, is where it was lacking. I felt it was kind of all over the place on where your thoughts were going from Calgary to Hamilton game and things like that, whereas Joe, there was the preparation that went into it, just a little more practice on your thoughts because, you know, there was sometimes you stumbled over the names you had written down. I know you knew that. I knew you had the rider knowledge. It was just one of those nerves probably got to you a little bit, so maybe a little more practice. And, of course, the first time in front of a mic in front of it, it's really tough to do. But your enthusiasm, your performance, everything was key. So I thought it was an overall pretty good first round.
Carla, it's always tough to go first. The nerves showed through. Didn't really capture my attention. Didn't really keep it. Felt that you were unprepared and maybe rambling on a bit. There's no question that you're a huge rider fan. We're not really looking for the huge rider fan.